ESPN's Rece Davis recently said that Michigan is his number one preseason team. Now, he did secede. He said, look, Georgia, they have a better roster top to bottom. Not fighting against that. But the point that he made, and I think it's fair, is that he needs to see the quarterback play at Georgia before he puts them ahead of Michigan. And so I think we need to unpack this just a little bit because the Georgia fans, I would imagine, are feeling some kind of way about this. At the very least, feeling a little bit disrespected. Michigan fans are probably like, all right, Rece Davis, we're on the train now, baby. Let's roll. So we'll talk about this here in just a second. Make sure you're subscribed. We talk ball every single day. We're live twice a week, 11 a.m. Eastern, Tuesday, Thursday. Also follow me on Instagram and Twitter at JD Piquel. Thank you very much. All right, with that out of the way, what Rece Davis said isn't crazy. Like, the logic itself to me is pretty sound. Because you look at the way Michigan's built, top 5 in returning production, right? So that's solid. A lot of pieces coming back. Have the best backfield in the country with Donovan Edwards and Blake Corum, who was playing at a Heisman level last year before he got hurt. J.J. McCarthy has elite tools. Looked really promising at the end of last year, especially against Ohio State. College football playoff game leaves someone to be desired. But you feel like if he takes the next step, and Rece Davis said this, if he takes the next step, that's kind of the key for Michigan. Then Michigan could really explode. The culture itself is solid. You're not trying to retool anything when it comes to this roster and how they think. They've been to the college football playoff now 2 years in a row. They're after a national title. They've made that very, very clear. That is the mission, national title or failure. Like, that's the deal at Michigan. So you look up and down this thing, all they have returning, all of this checks out as the number one team in the country. Now, the enormous caveat to that is it checks out in a vacuum. Because to me, the argument for Michigan being the number one team in the country isn't my issue. I don't have an issue with the argument. I have an issue with the alternative. Because I look around the rest of the country and I still see Georgia just existing, right? We still see the Georgia Bulldogs as back-to-back national champions. And going back to what Rece Davis said, the argument itself is fair. New quarterback, new offensive coordinator. They've won it back-to-back years, so going for a third in a row is borderline insane. The argument is fair. But I still look at Georgia, and it's nothing to do with betting against Michigan. It's everything with what I know about Georgia and what I know about Kirby Smart. 2021. Georgia, confetti drops, national champions. Stetson Bennett gets the bear off the back for the Georgia Bulldogs being able to finally win a national title. And everyone's like, wow, great story, good for Georgia. It's not going to happen another year in a row, though. I mean, they lose 15 players to the NFL draft, 14 starters. There's no shot they run it back, was the thought in some people's mind. Not everyone, but in some people's mind, losing that much had a big old question mark next to it, myself included. I was concerned about what Georgia would look like. You and I both know what happened. They go to LA, they take TCU to school, and they repeat as national champions. And so seeing the way that Kirby Smart reloaded after last year and going into this past season and winning another national title, with as much as they lost defensively and still to win a national title, listen, I'm not betting against Kirby Smart. I'm not doing it. I'm not assuming that Kirby Smart and Georgia are just going to somehow take a step back because they've recruited at an elite level. I feel really good about Carson Beck. I don't have any issue with Michigan. I just have a hard time believing that Georgia is just somehow, some way going to slide back because they don't have Stetson Bennett and because it's a new OC. I have a hard time getting behind that thought. So for Michigan fans, here's the good news. Here's the really good news for Michigan fans and for Michigan as a whole. Preseason rankings matter 0.0% on what you do in the season. They have absolutely no bearing at all on what you do during the season. Michigan understands the chase. They understand what they're up against. They know the goal. They've been very, very open about it. We want to win a national title. That's one of the reasons why they have a beat Georgia period currently at practice. But preseason rankings, you don't care what I think about the preseason rankings. You don't care what Rece Davis thinks about the preseason rankings because they're actually going to get to play the games. You're going to actually get to line it up against Ohio State again. You're going to get to see what Penn State looks like. You're going to get to the fall, and that's where it matters. When you play 11 on 11, then we can start talking about what Michigan's going to be and how they match up against Georgia should they meet in the national title game. So the preseason talk is fun. I don't even think the logic behind what Rece Davis is saying is incorrect. However, I do disagree based on what Georgia has. But all that's to be said, it's talking season right now. It's not going to be come August, September, October, November, December, and January likely for Michigan. So with that being said, we're going to talk about this every single day, this being the beautiful sport that you and I are both absolutely psychos for in college football. Make sure you're locked in. Make sure you're subscribed. We're just getting rolling now, revving the engine a little bit. College football, less than 50 days away. All right? Buckle up. Going to be a real good time. Want you a part of this here. Again, make sure you're subscribed. Live Tuesday, live Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all, man. We're going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked that video, subscribe right here so you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count and to stay up with all the other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.